guys, today we are gonna have a little discussion about fitchickscience. So ever since I posted a video talking about fitchickscience, I've gotten messages of people being like, what's an example of a fitchickscience exercise? I've even had some people send me exercises and be like, is this a fitchickscience exercise? And I love that you guys are trying to actually like learn and avoid these mistakes. So I thought I would show you guys some examples of fitchickscience. Now, I just want to start this off by saying I'm not trying to do this to be mean and make fun of people who are doing these exercises. But the thing is, I did spend a few years of my fitness journey doing exercises like this, and it wasted a few years of my life. I wasted a few years of my life, but it's true because I didn't see any major progress during that time. Like, I was able to lose body fat, but it was harder to lose body fat because these exercises they're not as challenging, they're not as effective, so you're not really efficiently building muscle, so you're not building your metabolism, you're not really shaping and toning your body. I have pictures of me at the time when I was doing tons of isolation exercises and there wasn't really any improvements. And a year after, literally just a year of migrating away from solid fitchickscience, and I was able to lose weight on more calories. My body reshaped. I actually, like, my waist started looking smaller. I looked more toned, and things were just so much better. In the end, it actually helped me stop yo-yo dieting because when I was doing fitchickscience, it's just so appearance focused and it kind of just puts you in the wrong mindset. So there's that. And then also, a lot of these exercises are quite dangerous. They're just not good to be doing, so I don't want people to be injuring themselves thinking they're doing some awesome creative exercise, because the thing is, a lot of these exercises are less effective than the original version of the exercise. So the big issue is bodybuilding and weight training exercise, it's been around for a really long time. So by this point, if someone is inventing an exercise, chances are it's bullshit, because there's not much, there's just, all the movement patterns have been done. Like, maybe if someone made up a cool machine, like there's this hip thrust machine that's come out and it's basically mimicking the movement of a hip thrust, but instead of loading up a bar, you just go into the machine. Like something like that, that's fine. That's mimicking an awesome movement and just making it easier. But if someone's just making stuff up and being like, oh, we're gonna combine a lunge and a squat and a kickback all in one, it's just not going to be as effective, because usually when you're doing those types of movements, it takes away from the original movement because you can't use as much weight, which is what you need to keep changing your body. You will not see continuous changes if you're just doing little ineffective exercises, and that is what I experienced. I was working out hard. That's the thing. You can feel like you're working out really hard when you're doing these exercises, but just because you're working up a sweat and feeling the burn, it doesn't mean it's actually effective. That's the problem with working out. It's not like nutrition, where someone can usually really tell if they're eating badly because they'll keep falling off track and they'll feel bad. Whereas working out, you'll be like, oh yeah, I just did all these kickbacks and all these jump squats and I really worked up a sweat, and you'll think that it's a good workout, but it's not. I see people on Instagram and there's these girls and they show transformations, and their before picture, their butt is as flat as a pancake, and in their after picture, their butt is like massive and shapely and muscular, but all the videos they ever post are always body weight exercises. And that is just a straight up lie. That is a straight up lie. There's no freaking way. I've seen, again, like some popular people with giant butts and they're like, here's my workout, and it's all just banded exercises and jump squats. That is not going to get you that type of butt. So what I would say is fitchickscience is more, it's not necessarily about individual exercises, it's about what you're doing as a whole. So generally the fitchickscience type person, they're not sticking to a solid routine. They're not really doing that many compound movements. It's mostly these kickback, banded type movements. The thing is, like, some kickbacks and isolation movements like that in moderation are fine. I've added them in a little bit more frequently in the past 6 months, and I have noticed a little bit of extra glute growth, but that's because I'm combining them with my compound movements, and I'm not doing weird variations like you'll see coming up. I'm doing just regular standard ones. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is that a usual thing that accompanies Fitchickscience is improper form. Fitchickscience is all about the appearance. It's all about getting the likes on Instagram. So generally people will be doing an exercise and sticking out their butt as much as they possibly can because it makes your butt look bigger, but that is terrible form. That's going to injure your back. It's not even gonna activate your glutes as much. So there's that. And then sometimes it's just kind of rude. Fitchickscience exercises, they're rude. And because people will say, oh, let's do this exercise for my glutes on a machine that's not meant for glutes. So while you're doing your silly exercise, somebody's waiting for that machine, and this person waiting for the machine is trying to use it correctly. And you don't need that machine. You could be doing it on something else. So you're gonna see those examples in this video, and yeah. That's I think everything I've got to say. Yeah. And now if you want to see examples of proper training, just check out my other training videos. I don't want to make this video way too long, but of course if there's specific questions, just let me know and I can make more videos on the topic. I want to make sure this is clear. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's go look at some awesome Fitchickscience exercises. Whew. This is what I got. I'm loose.
Put the guards up.
You feel like it's gonna slip?
So this exercise, it just doesn't really make sense to do it on the Smith machine. Because as you can see, it keeps hooking back in. That is something that happens a lot when you're doing things like this or kickbacks on the Smith machine because it's not really meant to be used that way. So as you're going through the motion, you risk just the Smith machine ruining the movement because it keeps hooking back in onto the little notches. So then you're too busy focusing on that, so you can't really focus on progressive overload and really feeling the muscle because you're too busy focusing on the Smith machine or your feet not sliding off the bar. So for that reason, I really do not recommend this exercise. You can do it on a different machine. There is no point at all in doing it on the Smith machine. You could easily do this on the leg press machine, and you could just adjust the angles to mimic this type of motion. So yeah, this is just a very silly, impractical exercise, making it a key Fitchickscience exercise.
Like once I got the hang of it, like I felt a decent squeeze, but you could do it on something else. Like you don't have to do it on there. It's stupid.
Okay, so this is one of the silliest ones in my opinion. It feels stupid because no matter what weight I used, I went up to a 45-pound plate and it doesn't really engage your glutes that much. You're just kind of pushing a plate on your leg and pushing your leg back and forth. This type of motion is okay. You can do this as an isolation exercise, but I think it would be much more effective if you're doing it with a cable or some resistance bands. You could even double them up to mimic a heavier weight. But with the plate, just no.
Like I'm embarrassed and no one's even.
So when programmed in properly, some kickbacks are okay to do, but again, this is an example of something I have seen done before, where you're doing kickbacks on a machine that is not meant for kickbacks. This is the cable row machine. That is very obnoxious and very rude to be using the cable row machine for your kickbacks when you easily just take a bench and bring it in front of the regular cable machine and do this exact same thing. And same thing with the next exercise I'm going to show you. I swear I've seen weird variations like this and there's just no point. Use the freaking normal cable. So I wanted to try doing this standing on the bench just to make it extra Fitchickscience-y, but that wasn't really working, so I stood on the floor, and then as I was doing the movement, I was like, wait a minute, I don't have proper fitchickscience form. So fitchickscience form is really sticking your butt out. This is called an anterior pelvic tilt, and it is not correct form. You're not going to engage your glutes as much. Not only that, but it puts you at a high risk for injury, and if you're doing things this way long term, you are going to get injured. So I made up my own variation of the Smith machine leg press. Now this is just as silly, but honestly, it actually works better because you don't keep getting the movement interrupted by it hooking back into the Smith machine. You can actually do the exercise and not have to worry about it falling. However, it is still just as stupid. Why would you do this? This is a shoulder press machine. You could use the leg press, just like all the other exercises where people are trying to reinvent the wheel.
What the hell are you gonna do a kickback?
So this one, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it. It's another one I invented myself. And I wouldn't be surprised, though, if I saw this, because, again, I kind of got a nice range of motion, but it's just so silly. You could do dumbbell quadruped kickbacks. You could do cable kickbacks, like, in the normal way, not on a cable row machine. So it's just foolish. It's just silly. It just goes to show that there's no such thing as, like, a new exercise. Everything's been done already. If someone's making something up and just pulling it out of their ass, it's not legit. And the worst thing is, if somebody with a lot of followers that looked good posted this video, you would see people trying to imitate it. You would go into a commercial gym and you would see this ridiculousness. So the problem with this variation is as soon as you're adding a kickback into your lunge, automatically you're not going to be able to use nearly as much weight. When you're not able to use as much weight, you're not really going to see the results you want, because in order to really change and shape your body, you need to be progressively overloading, which means increasing the weight you're using. You need to put your muscles under an adequate amount of tension, otherwise you're just not going to see optimal results. So by doing this, you're pretty much just wasting your time, because you've completely ruined the movement. You can do a kickback and a lunge separately, but do not put them together. Otherwise, you've just ruined it. You've ruined it. So, and then the other issue is this is pretty dangerous. If you do try to load the exercise with a proper amount of weight that's actually going to put your muscles under a good amount of stress, that's pretty dangerous. So, no, don't do it. Okay, so if you want to do kickbacks on the Stairmaster, that's fine. You can do it as a warm-up for your leg day, or you can just do it just to make cardio a little bit more exciting, but don't expect that to change your glutes whatsoever, because you need weight in order to continue progressing. Maybe if this is your first day working out and you've been very sedentary your entire life, doing some kickbacks may initially stimulate a little bit of muscle growth, but at some point you will hit a plateau and there'll be nowhere to go, because you need to always be progressively overloading. And also note my terrible anterior pelvic tilt. My butt is majorly sticking out, and this is pretty common when you see people post these kinds of workouts. So that just puts you at risk for injury. It's not good for your back. It can actually target your glutes less, so do not mimic that type of technique. So this is another one. I mean, if you really want to do this to warm up, fine, but there's just a lot more effective ways to warm up that are safer, that are going to allow you to really engage your muscles a lot more. It's just kind of pointless to do things like this. I don't really recommend it. I would rather see someone do a nice glute activation with some bands on the floor, not on a treadmill. So, yeah, not really that effective. Ugh. So here I was trying to attempt kickbacks on a leg press. Now, the type of leg press at this gym just literally does not even work, because the way you have to unhook the machine in order to do the exercise, you can't, and
don't fucking hurt yourself either.
I'm doing it for the booty. Oh my god. How the fuck do people... No.
Don't they do it on their side? Aren't they like doing like a ninja kick up?
I've seen people go backwards.
it just didn't work. I tried different angles. I legitimately could not do it. And again, it's just an example of one that's kind of pointless. It's just unnecessary. There's other ways you could do a kickback. It's just unnecessary. It's frivolous. It's frivolous. You're wasting your time.
So when I shifted my focus in the gym and started focusing more on strength and performance, my results dramatically improved. And the funny thing is, when you're focusing on strength and performance, it ends up improving your physical appearance more, even though you're less focused on it. When I was just strictly going to the gym and thinking, what is this gonna do for my appearance? It didn't do much. But then when I was like, oh, let's just train like an athlete, like eat and train like an athlete, try and get stronger, more powerful, then like everything changed. Not just my physical appearance, but even my mindset. It just became so much healthier. So I really can't recommend this enough. Alrighty guys, and that is it for the video. I hope this cleared things up a little bit. Like I said before, if you've got any questions, just let me know. And check out my other videos if you found this one helpful. And that is all. I will see you in the next one. Bye!